Hey guys, it's Becky with Design Bundles, and today I'm here with another awesome Glowforge project. Today we are making custom stocking tags. Now we're using wood, but you can totally do this in acrylic, so let's get started. Alright guys, so you know that I like to set up my designs in Silhouette Studio, but I do just want to gently remind you that there are other options available, but Silhouette Studio is my go-to, and that's what we're going to use today to create these awesome, super duper awesome personalized stocking tags. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I want to get familiar with my drawing tools. You can also come over here and get familiar with your flexi shapes, because I'm going to draw a traditional tag, but that doesn't mean that you have to. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a rectangle, and I'm going to size my rectangle to be 5 inches by 2.5 inches. All right, so that is the size that I like. And then this will make sense in a moment, but I'm going to draw another rectangle. And this one doesn't matter the width, but I do want it to be 0.75. And I want to select both of these, and we're going to align horizontally and then also align all the way to the right. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in. And I'll tell you why. So we're going to get another rectangle. As you can tell, I'm really big into sizing with using my shapes here. So this rectangle, I'm going to size to 4 by 2.5. Let's see, what do we think about that? All right, there we go. Now, what I want to do, again, we're going to go ahead and all of these horizontal. And I'm going to double click. This is my point editing, and I double clicked on my very first rectangle. Let's make these two a different color just so that you can see. So I have my main rectangle, which is red, and then my other two rectangles, which are blue. So slide over here. I'm going to double click on red. I'm going to slide this all the way down to meet the corner of that square, or rectangle rather. Then if I click somewhere in my line, I get another point. When you double click, that activates the point editing in Silhouette Studio. All right. So just want to give myself these points, and this is what's going to create my shape. So let's take a look at that. So basically I used this 4-inch rectangle and this 0.75-inch rectangle here to create a shape guide. Okay, so I want to make sure that my points line up on the corners here and on the corners here. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete those, and that's what I'm left with is the actual shape of my tag. Now I do want to add a circle. This is where you will thread through your twine or your ribbon. And let's just make sure, let's do that at 0.25, 1/4 inch. So I'm going to select both of these again. I'm going to come back and choose my horizontal. And now watch this. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose make a compound path. All right, now if I were to fill this in, you'll quickly see make a compound path makes it so that Silhouette Studio recognizes that this circle is going to be cut out of this tag. All right, so we have the basics of our tag. I'm going to flip this horizontally because I like for my names to read in this direction so that when they're hanging, they're reading down. All right, so when it's time to add text, now I've decided I'm going to do 3 different tags. And I'm going to do that because I want to show you 3 different ways that you can do these tags, okay? So the very first one is going to be a simple engraving job. So I'm going to add, now you guys know, well, you may or may not know, a little tidbit about myself. I have a girl and 2 boys. So I want to pick a nice girly font for her, and that will, holiday colors, that's the one I wanted. And we will do this as an engraving job, and we will just engrave it right there in the wood. Okay, so I'm going to right click and weld. Now the next one we will do as a letter cutout. So let me type out Christian And for him, we will just choose a fun little font. I really like this Rainbow Dreams. It's just a font that I've really had a lot of fun playing with. And I think it'll do well as a cutout. So I'm still going to weld because see, I had that part where the R, okay, went into the I. So I still welded. And then down here, I will do my oldest and third child, Braden. So let's go ahead and I want to do a pretty thick font for him. All right, this one looks nice and manly, right? That's a manly font. I don't know. All right, so there is one thing that we need to talk about in terms of this font. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this as an actual cutout of this piece of wood. So I will completely cut around, and then I will also completely cut out these words from the actual tag. So I am going to go ahead and convert to path, and that takes it out of the editing format. And what I want to do is I want to get my knife tool. All right, and the reason I want to do that, now I do want to make sure that I have solid selected up here. I need to cut areas away so that I do not lose the inside of my letters. Now there are stencil fonts that will do this for you. I do not have any of those, so I'm just going to use my knife tool. And I'm going to cut pieces away if I can get a straight line. Okay, and basically what'll happen that way when it burns out the rest of this B, it will leave the inside of my letters. I'm going to use my point editing to straighten out those cuts. That went really bad. There we go. All right, that's a little better. Now I want to do the same thing on the R. Okay, so now basically I have all these parts of my letters that have been subtracted into with my knife tool so that it looks like a stencil font. Now, like I said, there are actual stencil fonts out there, but I just wanted to kind of show you how that works. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group my name together, and then I'm going to select my tag and my name. I'm going to use my align and align them horizontally, make sure that they are straight. Right click and make compound path. All right, that way, like I showed you the first time, if I fill them in, you can see that it will actually cut out Braden. So now for Christian, what I want to do is I want to actually take his name completely off the tag, because Christian we are actually going to cut as part of a separate piece of wood. And then with Madison, I've already welded, but I'm still going to do the horizontal align. Actually, I'm going to make her name a little bigger. Horizontal align. There we go. So what I will do is this. I'm going to switch it to a different line color. That will be my engraving. And then this will just be a cut, and this will be a cut over here. So we can actually just we'll stack Christian up here. And then these will be a cut as well. So my only engraving job is going to be the name Madison. So I'm just going to center align those. I don't really have to. It's kind of a habit. Now remember that I have the business edition of Silhouette Studio. So I'm able to save directly as an SVG file. We do have a quick little video on an overview for using Silhouette Studio with your Glowforge. So if you have questions about using Silhouette Studio, make sure you check that out. So in the Glowforge software, now I have already preloaded my birch board, and I mask it. I put the masking on the top and the bottom. So I want to bring up my file explorer, and what I want to do is just drag and drop my file over here. Now you can see I've already cut out this part, so what I want to focus on is cutting this part right here. There we go. Let's bring all of this right over here. All right, so if you take a look over here, you can see I have the parts of the file that are to cut, and I will change this one to Engrave. And let's go ahead and set our focus. Okay, so once the focus is set, you can see that I have the engrave lights up here and then also the cut. Now, what I want to do is just make sure, everything looks like it's positioned correctly so that I will get Christian cut out. I will get these cut out. I always get nervous about having it right there on the edge. All right, so I think we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and hit print. Oh, no, I'm not. Silly Becky. All right, so what I'm going to do is I do need to come over here and adjust my settings. And for engrave, I did full speed and full power. And then for cut, because this is birchwood, this isn't the thick plywood that is programmed in here, I was able to do 135 speed at full power. Okay, so 135 full power for cutting, and then the 1000 speed full power for the engraving. So I'm going to choose print, and this is going to communicate with the cloud, give me an estimate of how long this will take. So it will take 11 minutes and 41 seconds. So I'm going to head over there and watch the magic happen. All right, so here we are. You can see the board already in there, and I'm just going to hit the button. All right, guys, so let's see how we did. I was watching it, of course, I had to stand here the whole time, and I think we got a really good cut. All right, so I'm gonna slowly pull this out. Now, on braid ends, what I'll do is I'll take a tool that is cut. You just have to poke it out, so I can take a tool. Actually, I can use my fingernails, I guess. So that one, very happy with how that turned out. I'm happy with my little faux stencil font, right? We'll be able to check it out more once we get all of the masking off. So I don't need those letters, but I do need to keep track of, here's my blank one for Christian, and I do need to keep track of these Christian letters. So I'm gonna pick these up and bring these over here. And then of course, my Madison letters are my engraved letters. So there we go on that. And overall, push that bad boy out. Looks like a really good grave. Don't have to worry about that. And so we will go ahead and do some assembly and staining on these and check out our final product. All right, so we have our finished designs here, right? I showed you the previews, but we have Christian and the tag, Madison with her engraved tag, and Braden with his completely cut out tag. Now, the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and remove the masking. And like I said, this is actually 1/4 inch birch. Under normal circumstances, I think I would have chosen a thinner wood. So just something to keep in mind. I think 1/8 probably would have been perfect. Or even acrylic, there's such a thing as patterned acrylic. So that would be something that would be really neat. As a matter of fact, I have some on the way, so. Okay, so in theory, this one is done. Now, I am gonna go in and stain it, so I'll show you the finished project. And then same thing with this one. Like, I'm gonna peel off just the rest of this masking, and it is done also. So those are really easy. I think it's, 2 different takes on the same project, just depending on how you're feeling and what you want your personalized tags to look like. If you happen to sell your creations, these are 2 different designs that you can offer. Although I do believe that the engraved one will probably be, more popular than the cutout, but I could be wrong. Now this one, I don't want to say it's complicated. Not complicated is an incorrect word, but this one will have the most work to put in. I also have this handy. So this is a sanding sponge. I actually picked that up at the dollar store, and I like to keep it on hand. Sometimes I get the rough edges. There's a word for that. I'll think of it in a minute. It's like an overburn. It's where I had too much power. So before, especially if I am going to stain it, okay, then I'm just going to take my little sanding sponge because I like it better than I like sandpaper. And I can just sand off. I don't want to do too much as far as I don't want it to look uneven, but I can get the darkest part of it off before I stain. And then I think this one was fine and that one was fine. So now let's go ahead and talk about this one. We have these little pieces here, the name pieces. So I do need to remove the masking. But if you notice, I actually already put them in order, and I personally could tell the front from the back because the back was whiter than the front. The front was more charred from having that smoke come up and over that masking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wood glue. There we go, my wood super glue, super wood glue, whatever you want to refer to it. I just really love it. I think it's the best glue I've found. And I'm going to go ahead and start, because I know that this name is going to take up the majority here. Okay, I also know that the letters go really close together. So if I want, I can lay it out ahead of time. Okay, so I know that the N is going to go there. So I will just start making my way backwards. And I am putting a very, very small amount. Okay, very small. Because this stuff, it's kind of like working with super glue. Because number one, it sticks like super glue. But number two, it will leak out the sides. And that's not what I want. So I will just go letter by letter and get all these letters glued on one by one. All right, so there we go, all finished. Now what I will do, this one I'm just going to use a clear spray. If I had wanted to stain it, then you can actually stain before you cut, and that works out really well. And then these two, if I want, I can go ahead and stain them. I like, because these are 3 different children, obviously, I like to go ahead and give them 3 different looks. So I will probably clear seal and then stain, and then we'll mix it up with that one and maybe do some acrylic paint. So I am wiping off the tip of my glue. I got a little bit of char on there from touching the edges, and I definitely don't want that. So in addition, I also have this little twine. So what I can do is I can just cut off pieces to add a little accent. I can also use Christmas ribbon. So that part is completely up to you, but somehow you will want to attach these to your stockings. And twine is a really great alternative for rustic looking tags here. So all right, guys, well, that's all I got for you. So let's do the wrap up, and then I'll show you my finished project. So guys, this is the first sneak peek that you get of our finished ornaments. Okay, can you see? I did each one in a unique coating. This one, I painted my letters with acrylic paint, and then I sealed it with a clear spray. This is a stain, but it's a colored stain. It's a nice aqua color. And then this one, I stained with a very manly stain, because boys need their manly stuff, right? Anyway, I really appreciate you joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed our project. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some close-up pictures. If you have any questions about any of these 3 techniques, make sure you leave that in the comments below. I really love coming back and answering questions for you guys. If you have any video requests, put those down below too, because I'm always looking for new things to try and explore. And last but not least, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because that way we can keep bringing you these really awesome video tutorials. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you share with a friend these fun projects everybody loves to see. Thanks again. I will wrap it up for now, but we will see you next time.